Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? We're making tofu scramble, and believe it or not, tofu scramble, or we did a chorizo tofu scramble, was my very first video here almost 3 years ago. So I'm going to show you how I make a simple one, and I've added a new ingredient to make it taste even more like egg. So stick with me. So the first thing you're going to need, obviously, is tofu. I've gotten mine from Trader Joe's, and Trader Joe's has been awesome, and they haven't raised their prices during all of this thing going on, and it's organic. So I'm using a firm tofu, but you could use medium if you like a little bit more creamy and eggy. I prefer it like this, and you're just going to want to drain the water, and I do mine in two different ways. I like to cube it, and then I like to kind of squish half of it to give it different textures. So we're going to do that in a minute, but first let's prep our ingredients. We're going to do onions this morning and just mushrooms. We're going to keep it super simple. I'm just going to use half of an onion, and of course I'm going to keep my skins and everything for what? Can't hear you. That's right, my soup stock. It's going to go into my soup stock. We'll just put that aside. Now this is a white onion, so I was told white onions don't make you cry from one of my subscribers, so let's see if she's right. I'm hoping. I cry like a baby every time I do onions. So far so good. So far I'm just dicing. Perfect. Actually, that was pretty good. I'm still holding in there. So thank you. That seemed to have worked much better than the yellow onions. I'm just going to put those on a plate just to get them out of our way while we do our mushrooms, because you know I like to be mise en place or mise en place and have all of my stuff ready before I go over to the stove, and that way you can just get everything done. Okay, now I just have some sliced mushrooms. I'm just going to chop them a little bit smaller, and again, whatever you want. So now we're going to talk about the spices. So you could use fresh garlic. I'm just going to use garlic powder today. You're going to need some turmeric. You could add obviously whatever spices you like. And then the secret ingredient is coming up, so stay tuned. Everybody wants to know how vegans can make tofu taste like eggs. And if you've watched my brunch video, and if you haven't, you should, because that quiche is thebomb.com. All right. So we have everything ready. I'm going to move that over, and then let me just show you what I do with the tofu real quick. I'm going to take half of it. I'm going to get rid of all this water. I'm just going to chop it. There we go. And then this I'm going to crumble in. So we're all set. So let me take you and show you how we're going to put this all together. So you want to get your pan hot, because we're not cooking with fat. And you're going to add your water and your onions, and we're going to brown those nicely. So when your water's sauteing, always just keep letting it reduce, letting them brown a little bit, and then just keep adding your water. Lower your temperature a little bit, and that's going to take about 4 or 5 minutes. We're just going to let that go. And again, once the water starts dissipating, again, you don't want it to burn, but you do want it to brown a little bit. And you can brown with the water sauteing. You just have to keep an eye on it. Now that our mushrooms have started to soften, we're going to add in, our onions have started to soften, we're going to add in our mushrooms. Get those browned off. You can add a little bit of water. And then those mushrooms are going to release their juices and start browning. And then just leave them Let them brown. Okay, so now our mushrooms and onions are nicely browned. See, very possible without butter or oil. And now we're going to throw in our tofu. Cubes in first. And then you're just going to crumble in. And it'll give you that texture. Now we're going to add our seasoning. So I'm just going to add a little garlic powder, or a lot. We want some turmeric. Oh, that comes out really heavy. And give it that eggy look. And then I'm going to add some pepper. I like fresh ground pepper. And that'll go with the turmeric also to help you, because you do need to have a capsaicin for the turmeric to give you your health benefits. And you notice I haven't added any salt yet, and that's because our mystery ingredient is actually calaminac, which is black salt, and we're going to use that at the very end and just put that in about a teaspoon. And calaminac is very sulfury, so it actually will give your dish the smell of eggs, and it'll add salt. And there you go. Easy tofu scramble any day of the week. Add our calaminac on top now that we're done. Just going to turn the heat off. Put that in. There we go. And for a quick lunch, I'm going to have a slice of this no-knead bread that I made. If you haven't tried this, I'll link my recipe in down below. This is so easy and so delicious. I'm just slicing it up, and I'm going to toast it very easily. Again, this is delicious. It takes nothing to make. You literally put it together in a couple of minutes, and it just raises and sits all day until you're ready to eat it. And then I'm going to make almost like a little bruschetta. I've got some little grape tomatoes and some basil. You could use some onions if you'd like. And I'm adding a little bit of some vegan parm to this, just to make it a little extra special. I'm going to spread that on the toast, and then I'm going to just put it in the oven and just kind of melt it and warm it up. And you are going to have a delicious little light lunch that's simple and easy to put together. There we go. Lovely. And now that it's finished, you don't want to forget just to top it off with a little balsamic drizzle if you happen to have it. It just adds the finishing touch to this. And again, just a very light, easy lunch for today, but always delicious. Hope you guys give this one a try. Let's make some supper, quick and simple. I'm just going to chop up some mushrooms. We're going to saute them. And I'm going to use the refried beans we made last night. And I'm going to throw in one of my oriental potatoes. I'm going to chop that up too, just to give some bulk. Kind of make a, taco, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to use some tortillas, our refried beans. We're just going to fill it with some deliciousness, but we're going to keep it simple. And I'm hungry, so we're going to make it fast today. So that's the great thing when you meal prep. So we're just going to skin the potato. Just going to chop it into the chunks. I'm just going to warm this up in a frying pan. Super simple. So we're just going to add some water. throw our mushrooms in. We're going to brown those up. So the mushrooms are getting nice and cooked down. I'm going to just add that sweet potato in. Let it start browning a little bit too. Get it softened up a little bit. Okay, so let's just assemble everything. So we have our tortillas. I've just warmed them up a little bit. I'm going to spread some of those nice, look how delicious those refried beans were. Get them nice smooth. Now I'm keeping this super simple today. Again, you could do salsa and stuff. Depends on what you're in the mood for. This is what I'm in the mood for. If you want to add salsa to yours, add salsa to yours. I'm keeping mine super simple. And I'm actually just going to add a little bit of nutritional yeast. And there we go. Supper is served. Easy, fast, took us like less than 10 minutes.